Honorable Khoza, may you continue the debate?
Mfokambhele uyazama bandla kodwa ngokuhamba kwesikhathi uzawugcina usukwazi ukukhuluma kahle sizohambisana nje sicathulisane size sifike la sifika khona. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, extraordinary times require extraordinary leadership. The devastating trail on the path of colonialism coupled with racial capitalism is often understated. The African National Congress, as a leader of society, does not have time to argue with the opposition about their own point of views. We have a responsibility to lead. We have a responsibility to remain true to our mission. We have a responsibility to build social cohesion, a united, non-racial, non-sexist society, and never to be detracted from our pursuit of a prosperous society. Undoing over 340 years of psychological, economic, political, and social damage of unimaginable proportions. Do your own arithmetics. From 1652 to 1994, that's over 340 years. It is no easy task. Admittedly, 21 years is not enough. As the ANC as the leader, because we are leading from the front, and we are leading from the center, and we are also leading from the back. And we can testify that kushawa edonsayo. We have a responsibility to leading the implementation of the National Development Plan 2030 and Africa Agenda 2063. Allow me, honorable members, to demonstrate the caliber of the youth class of 1996. They were not driven by self-serving motives. They were united and informed by the agenda to build a national democratic society. They rejected language imperialism and all its manifestations. They stood up for what was just and fair. This language imperialism is well captured because sometimes we talk and we don't want to refer to history because it's too painful to remember what actually happened. And I'm going to quote the then Deputy Minister of Bantu Education verbatim, Mr. Panchenson, who was quoted as saying in 1976, open quote, "A black man may be trained to work on a farm or in a factory. He may work he may work for an employer who is either English speaking or African speaking. And the man who has to give him instructions may be either English speaking or African speaking." Why should we then start quarreling about the medium of instruction amongst the black people? Close quote. When asked whether he has consulted the black people who were affected by the imperialist language to continue alienating black people, he had this to say, open quote, "No, I have not consulted them, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to consult them. I have consulted the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa," pointing to the Constitution that treated the black people as non-citizens and objects of their colonial white masters. Madam Chairperson, language is not just a cultural communication tool, it is economics. Professor Kwesi, a well-known African anthropologist and linguist, puts it very well. He says, open quote, "No country can make progress on the basis of a borrowed language," close quote. Language is therefore a determining factor of one's political, social, economic, and psychological standing in society. It is therefore important, honorable members, that when we are speaking about all these things that we are saying, we actually begin to understand the importance, the significance of the agenda of the class of 1976. And I also wanted to tell you that we actually have enough evidence to demonstrate that where in countries where they have embraced their own language and stopped using the dominance of the language of their colonial masters, they succeeded. Vietnam is a very good example, and it is the fastest growing economy. And on this note, I also wanted to congratulate the University of KwaZulu-Natal for taking a bold step of embracing isiZulu and English as the medium of instruction in that university. I have to say this, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. There is a disturbing emergence of a new breed of youth leadership. As we commemorate the historic class of 1976, which coincides with 60 years of the Freedom Charter, it is of girl's consequence that we highlight some of the emergence of a new breed of youth leadership with disturbing characteristics. Number one, there is emergence of a colonially inspired and brainwashed youth leadership, posing as the epitome of an ideal South African youth. They are presented as embracing liberal democratic values. Their mantra, forget the past. This type of youth is best described as being brainwashed, thoroughly colonized, alienated from economic reality, and alienated from their own history, and they are actually battling with identity. There is another one that is very, very disturbing. This is a hybrid of the selfie Machiavelli style and fascist ideology. These are pseudo-revolutionaries. These pseudo-revolutionaries are characterized by high levels of duplicity.
Honorable Member, can you take a seat? Is that a point of order?
Yes, Honorable Chairperson. I rise in terms of Rule 14R, explanations. I just want to know if the Honorable David Mania has got an African sister in the House that's now speaking in the way that she does a move.
No, Honorable Member, that's not a point of order. Honorable Member, can you continue with the debate?
Honorable Singh knows that I'm a very expressive person, and I'm very proud of that. And let's not digress, guys. This is very important for all of you. If you have pens, take your pens and write notes. These pseudo-revolutionaries, they claim that they are here to liberate young South Africans, the whole country. Some of them, they are even saying they have this economic agenda. Yet, when you actually look at them, the characteristic that is now becoming very, very pronounced is that they are very disrespectful. They have no value system. They confuse being assertive and being rude. And these are the people that are claiming that they are the alternative of the ANC. And of course, John, we have the other disturbing one. The tender premiership.
Honorable Member, may you address other members through me and not direct your interaction with members.
Okay, we have this other disturbing one. And I am going to repeat this. Corruption is not synonymous with the ANC. These entrepreneurship youth leaders are characterized by instant gratification, high levels of greed. They don't understand the concept of wealth creation. They splash wealth and are forever on the fast lane. But there is this one that is even worse of them all. This is the psychologically damaged beyond measure. The typical examples of these are those that are now even seeing positive qualities in Adolf Hitler. That is actually very, very serious. And the worst thing is that they are actually associated with with the knowledge industry, with universities. It is for this reason that as the ANC, we are saying, today we wanted to say there are leadership lessons that we can learn from those who have come before us. It is a historical fact that South African youth has always been at the center of crafting and determining the way forward for our future. We have many examples of honorable young South Africans then and international experiences of those who have similar experiences as ourselves. One of those is Benjamin Benneker, born in 1731 as a son of the slave and the grandson of a slave, but defied all odds under the sun and became a mathematician and an amateur astronomer with no formal education. Age 30, he took apart a pocket watch and from it designed and constructed a striking wooden clock which operated successfully from 1761 at least until his death in 1806. He predicted the eclipse of 1789 that no other American scientist had foreseen. And the other one that is closest to my heart is Priscilla Isaka Kaseme, a 30-year-old then in 1911, when he called for unity amongst black Africans and paved the way for the destruction of artificial boundaries amongst tribes. Today, the ANC reflects that character, conceived, molded, and determined by this young black African man. My story will be incomplete if I do not remind our women that we have Charlotte Maxeke, a 31-year-old then, when she obtained a BSc degree in 1905. She changed the character, form, and philosophy of the ANC when it came to women. She is remembered for her role in challenging the patriarchal mindset within the liberation movement and paved the way for the acceptance of women as full members of the ANC, though decades later. Anton Lembede, the founding president of the ANC Youth League, is known as one of the principal architects of African nationalism. O.R. Tambo, also the founder of the ANC Youth League, an uncompromising educationist, as a young was the passionate teacher of science and mathematics. Nelson Mandela, a student activist, a young insightful leader, one of the founders of Umkhonto weSizwe. He grew up to becoming South Africa's first democratically elected president and the father of world peace, reconciliation, and forgiveness. I also do want to say we also have a young generation like Juan Natsensanga. The list is too long. One would not be able to mention all of them. But he was 20 years old in 1976. He subsequently became one of the pioneers of South African policies post-1994. There are many inspirational leaders. The list is endless. So it is up to us as young people to choose the leaders that we identify with. We have to be critical. Let's understand that a leader is not just about what he says, but what he does. Madam Deputy Chairperson, I also wanted to say that it is very important that on this day, let's not forget that there were white youth that were with us during the liberation struggle. The End Conscription campaign, those young men, white men, they chose not to point the mouth of the gun at us as we were demanding our freedom. They chose not to go to serve in the South African National Defence Force. As we commemorate the youth of 1976, let's also remember those, because they are not the preserve of other people. They also belong to us.
Honourable Member, can you
In
conclude?
closing, in closing, let me quote what the NPP 2030 says. We, the people of South Africa, have journeyed far since long lines of our first democratic elections on 27 April 1994. When we elected the government
Your time
for
has
us,
expired,
we
Honourable
began
Member.
to tell a new story. And this story is what we are telling you today.
Thank you very much.